What's up, guys? My name's Onmuu, and I'm making this video to share some of my favorite tips that could potentially help any of you Caustic mains out there. Basically, just improve your gameplay on a character that I believe to be very underutilized in the power that he can give to your team. So all these tips will have a place whether you're playing ranked, pubs, or competitive. They're going to work in really wherever you want to play Caustic. So if you guys like these types of videos and want to see more of this content in the future, leave a like below and comment basically what character you guys want to see next, alright? Alright, so basically for your first tip, guys, you want to use your gas to zone a team rather than just straight up trying to deal the most damage that you can. And basically what I mean by that, you're better off using your traps and your ultimate to force a team into a position that you can gain an advantage on. I really don't know a better way to display that with a better clip other than us winning champs right here. So I can walk over it with you guys again real quick. Basically, we force their bubble here with our ult. And once we see this, I end up running up to the care package and throwing my ultimate on this side of their bubble. Now keep in mind, like the zones on their back right here are already pushing in. They basically had one of two ways they could have went. They could have went up the hill and fought the team up there, or they could have pushed towards us. And since we were also on match point, we'd assume that they would try to push towards us. So basically chucking the gas on this side of their bubble kind of blocked off this entire push for them and only gave them one way to go. We basically zoned them to go up the hill. We didn't give them any other option. That's basically ended up what happened, and yeah, you guys all know the rest that happened. But basically, that's how Caustic should be played, in my opinion. You shouldn't be using his gas to deal damage. I mean, it helps when you deal damage, don't get me wrong, but it does like 5 damage a second. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things if you can literally force a team into a worse spot that gets them killed anyways, you know? Alright, tip number 2 would probably be to lock doors from the inside of another building that you're not holding. And that probably doesn't make sense, what I just said, but like once I show you the clip and explain it a little bit more, you'll understand. So basically, to set the stage, we knew there was a team right out here, and we knew that they would end up having to move here potentially because it's not really playable out there. So there was nobody holding this building next to us. So we figured, like, hey, let's go throw a barrel and block the door on the inside so you can't open the door from the outside, you know, and kind of get people stuck on the door right here so they can't get in. So maybe we could pick up some free KP. So we chuck a barrel there, end up closing the door back on it and just coming back over here. And that plays absolutely no effect into anything until like 2 minutes later, alright? We see them rotating. They kind of fly right on that side of the building. And basically now we're just watching it. Like we already know the trap is set there. They have no idea that the trap's there. So they're basically just gonna try to run into the building to get safe, you know? So we just end up just watching it the entire time. You're gonna see me with some shots here. Don't make fun of me, you know? Absolutely cooked her. Absolutely hit every single shot on her. But basically, you basically saw her run up to the door, try to open it. It was stuck. She couldn't open it, and we ended up getting the free knock on her, getting the extra KP for it. And in these tournaments, like every KP matters, every point matters. So if you can do something as little as this to secure yourself maybe an extra 2-3 points every tournament, that really goes a long way in the grand scheme of things. And we end up getting, I'll fast forward a little bit, but we end up wiping them, getting 3 extra points for that. And yeah, it was honestly a really good play that I don't see a lot of Caustics using. Alright, my next tip would be, this one's kind of self-explanatory, but I feel like the need to put this because sometimes I see people waste traps by placing them on areas that like they're heavily just watching. Like you don't need traps on an area that you're, you know, watching the entire time. Like there's no point, you're just wasting the trap. You might as well put it somewhere that's going to be of use. So basically you want to prioritize trapping areas that you're not going to heavily watch or areas that you could potentially get pushed from. So when we're holding this building and launch site, we like to set up traps very heavily like in this little choke on this door. Just mainly because some teams try to Valk ult on top and drop into the choke. or octane jump pad from down like here on the map and try to go hold that choke with us. So if we have traps set up there early, we might be able to force a bubble, might be able to force some utility from them, and we could end up trying to wipe them quickly or forcing them away from this spot. And that just makes it a lot easier to hold the spot when you don't have someone holding right next to you. Yeah, basically that's what I mean by getting creative with your traps. Try to set them up in areas that people wouldn't expect to push into a trap, or to just slow down a push before they get to the building. That's the main thing. Alright, my next tip would probably be to basically block doors to give yourself the ability to play in a certain area. Like right here on this area, without a caustic, we wouldn't be able to block this door, and we'd basically be forced to play behind these boxes and not really anywhere else without getting basically free angles on us. So, as you can see, I tell Vane to just throw a bubble up here so we can go block this door, and you'll see how much room this gives us once this door is blocked. So the trap ends up messing up, the door opens, so basically you just pick it up, open and close the door again, and reset the barrel. It's as simple as that. But basically, now that that trap is set, and they can't open the door outwards without breaking it, we're able to play everywhere on this side of the building, you know. It just gives us so much more room to work, so much more room to move around just in general, that we end up making a play and winning this game simply because of having that much more room to play, you know. So this next tip, this kind of goes hand in hand by not letting a team get up to your building, or like slowing them down before they get to your building with your traps. But basically, you're going to want to spread out your barrels and potentially hold or like block off another area that a team could try to hold other than your main spot. So you can see like we have our barrels in this house right here, but we also have two barrels set up over here, and I end up moving this one because that one's in a bad spot. But basically we have one behind this tree right here, because usually what teams will end up doing is they'll push through this tunnel and run up behind these trees just to go get to these pills and hold this area with a little bit of cover there, if the zone's like ending back on this building. So we basically chuck a barrel on this door again to block the door, slow them down, just to give us a warning if people are running up there to try to get damage on them and not let them come hold close to us, because we want to try to keep our distance. Alright, now this is just kind of like a close-up of how our barrels look on the map. So basically, yeah, you still want to set up your main area pretty heavily, because obviously that's the main spot you're holding. You don't want to give that up. But if we didn't have these traps here and just had them all in here, if the zone pulls back to this area, this is giving this whole spot right here for another team to potentially. By having these barrels here, that is slowing down a team from going towards this way, maybe forcing a bubble with the caustic gas, or just doing damage before they run up to it, or getting stuck in the gas. And then if they end up using the bubble, you can always chuck a Gibby ult on them to try to get a knock. Like, it's basically doing this kind of bleeds out some of their utility, or it slows them down going there, that it gives you a little bit more room to hold rather than just having them all in your. Alright guys, so those are just some of my tips for playing Caustic. If you learned anything or just like this type of content, a like goes a really long way, especially if you guys want to see more of this in the future. And if you do want to see more of this in the future, feel free to comment below basically what legend you guys want to see next. But with that being said, my name's Onmuu, and I'll see you guys later.